Hi, good evening, everyone. Am I audible to you? All right, then I would like to welcome Sarah. You guys already know her. You guys already have met her. So, yeah, I would like I would like you to take over.
Thank you, Shubham. Good evening, everyone. How are we doing today? And last time जो cover किया था, we had also talked about literature review a little bit. So how are we doing on that? Any questions with reference to literature review? Yes, Mannat, we can see your messages. Don't worry. ठीक है. You can choose the topics, whatever list I sent, right, Alakshi? You can choose the topics from that itself. Um, can I explain it? Okay. No poster, nothing. ठीक है, we'll take it step by step, okay? The first step is getting a selecting a topic. मैंने आपको topics भेजे हैं. I would like you to go through them, select one of those topics, or if you want, you can select a topic based on your choice, but related to what we are covering in our internship this time. Okay? First step is select a topic. Simple. Second step is I would like you to cover 5 research articles. When I say research articles, I mean stuff which has been published, which has been conducted as a research. Okay, so people had a particular variable. I have sent the list to Shubham. He should have sent it on, I think he must have sent it on the WhatsApp group, right? So we'll be covering when I say homework, sorry, when I say literature review and when I say research, I mean please remember that there is a particular research which is being generated where the people who are conducting that research are comparing variables, they are measuring something. So they are collecting data, and on the basis of that data, they are making a conclusion. So when I say research, I do not mean blogs, I do not mean articles. Okay, I would like you to please find 5 researches conducted on the topic you are choosing. You can choose any topic on the topics that I've sent you, or you can choose any topic of your own as long as it's related to what we are covering in this internship. ठीक है? Um, okay. Now, again, I will again recap this in the end of during the end of the session. One small reminder, guys, when we are joining sessions, we start on time. So please ensure that you start on time or you join on time because so then we can cover as much as we possibly can. Right? ठीक है. Allow me to share my screen really quickly. Right. Is my screen visible? Okay.
Yes, it
Great.
is.
Thank you so much. For everyone who's saying that they did not attend the previous session, I think Shubham, are recordings available for the
Uh,
sessions?
yeah, recordings are available, but they haven't reached there yet. So can you just
Okay,
leave them for like a minute or so?
sure. So in the previous session, we covered about the importance of psychology in our daily life and how we tried and understood how the psychology plays an important role in our lives and how it matters and how we make decisions based on psychology as well, right? So we covered a basic introduction to psychology. We talked about emotions. We talked about emotional regulation strategies. Can someone name a couple of emotional regulation strategies that we covered when we covered emotional regulation? We covered some strategies. Can a couple of people name the strategies we covered? Yes, we covered cognitive distortions, right? And cognitive um, biases. We talked about check, change, sorry, catch, check, and change, right? We talked about the 3 C's. Very good, Iram. We had deep breathing. Okay, so we had all these things which we covered. Name the emotion, pause button technique. Yes, very good. Breathing, excellent. So that is what we covered in the previous session. Today we'll be covering the psychology of social life. Now, this is going to be a very discussion based session, right? So please ensure that when we are having these discussions, you're active on the chat box more importantly. Okay? And because we'll be having a lot of these discussions and talking a lot more today, we'll focus on this being a conversation based um, you know conversation based session. ठीक है? Alrighty. Oh, 1 second. क्या हो रहा है? Sorry. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about the psychology of social life, right? Before we start, can someone tell me what is social life? What is social life? Please put it in the chat box. Don't put it in the Q&A questions, please. Interactions we do with people out there, life in a society, how we behave, people around us, part of our life influenced by our surroundings, life we have with people outside of our family, interacting with others, the things we do influencing by the world. Do we also influence the world? Do we also influence other people? Right. So does that also come under social psychology, social life? Correct. So social life, therefore, is not just other people's influence on us and other people's connections with us. It's also our connection with them and our influence on them, on their decisions as well. Right? Okay. Now, when we talk about social psychology is the study of how individuals are influenced by others and how individuals influence others. Okay. Now, it examines how people are affected by the presence of others, even indirectly. When we say even indirectly, we're meaning even if it's just an implied presence. Like, for example, when you are sitting for an exam, right, and you have a couple of invigilators. Now, you know that there are invigilators around you, so you're being careful. You're not engaging in anything which could even be counted as cheating. Correct? But not just invigilators. There's also a CCTV camera present. Now, that CCTV camera, you don't know if there is someone actually seeing this camera. You don't know if there's someone behind watching what's happening on the TV screen, on the, screen, right? But because there's a camera there, it's hinted that you're being watched. Correct? So, even if it's direct and indirect, social psychology examines how people affect our behavior and how we affect their behavior. Okay. The focus is heavily on thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, how we think, what we feel, and how we act in social situations. Right. So, if, for example, if you approach a friend who you haven't met in a very long time, right, your first thought may be, okay, I'm going to speak to this person, but I haven't spoken to them in such a long time. It's going to be super awkward. Okay. So, when you go to them and you talk to them, you realize it wasn't as awkward. You start talking to them, and then they're also talking to you, and it's going very smoothly, and it's a good conversation. And during this time you realize that, okay, hey, you know what, I don't really feel awkward, I feel nice, I haven't met my friend in a very long time, and now I'm speaking to them, and it doesn't feel awkward, it feels quite nice, so I'm really happy about this. And then how we act, because you're happy in that situation, you will continue engaging in conversation with this friend, right? Initially you thought you would feel awkward, but you're not feeling awkward, you're feeling interested, you're feeling active. So you engage more with the person and you talk to them even more, right? So social psychology is our connection with other people, other people's connection with us, and it focuses on how we think, what we think, how we feel, and how we act based on how we think and feel. Okay? Okay. Any questions so far? Does this Q&A में कुछ है? Okay. This was basic, right? Okay. Let's continue. Now, why is social psychology important? Social psychology is important because it helps us understand human behavior. It explains why people act differently in different situations and what causes them to maintain that behavior. Okay, like for example, um, let's say you're an introvert, okay, and accordingly, you meet this friend of yours who you haven't met for a very long time. And when you meet this friend, as an introvert, you're feeling very difficult to communicate with them. It's difficult for you to be able to communicate freely with them, right? So you try and avoid them. Now, let's say you're an extrovert. As an extrovert, despite knowing that you haven't met this friend in a very long time, you are able to continue having basic conversation with them as if time has not passed at all, right? So our understanding of our behavior and how different situations im- uh, influence other people's behaviors, but most importantly, how we react in different situations, and why your reaction to a different situation will be different than mine is what's important in social psychology. It also explains everyday social interactions. When we say everyday social interactions, we're not just talking about a hi, hello. We're also talking about communication. We're talking about group projects. We're talking about conflict. We're talking about political debates. We're talking about controversial conversations. Any conversation which involves two people talking about something and exchanging their views, two or more people, is a social conversation, right? So when we work with people, it's important for us to have space to understand that people will have different views than us. Correct. So sometimes, if their view is different than us, our first response may be, I want to debate with this person and change their point of view. But that is not always the best way to go about it, right? Another way of responding to this would be trying to engage in communication rather than conflict. Okay. So social psychology also explains everyday social interactions to help us understand more about us as individuals and about society as well. Yeah. Okay. What's in the chat box here? While interacting with with individuals, we might feel that our vibe doesn't match, but we have to listen. You listen to them for a little while and then you try and cut the conversation short. It is okay. Okay. Just because we're talking about social psychology doesn't mean that you have to always be very nice to people. It also means setting boundaries. So if you're in a conversation, you don't like the conversation, it's difficult for you to carry the conversation forward. It's okay to step back and say that, I have somewhere to be, or I will see you around. Right? Why is it difficult to start conversations with new people? Yeah, because they are new people. Because they are people you haven't interacted with before. When we've interacted with someone, we have a bond with them, right? So that bond helps us communicate with them because we know basic stuff about them. But because they are new and there's that's uncertainty surrounding the newness, that's why it becomes difficult for us to talk to new people. Okay, all right. Now, today we are going to be talking about some very important aspects of being a teenager. Okay, of being in the age which you are in as well. So, first of all, there's peer pressure and decision making. Can someone tell me what is peer pressure? How would we define peer pressure? Yes, how do we define peer pressure? Influence of fellow people on our age, of our age on us, the youth urge to do the same thing. Yes, okay. Being influenced by our peers, thinking what is influence expected by peers or encourages a person doing something because of our friends, pressure, correct. Right? So essentially, peer pressure refers to any sort of pressure or any sort of tension you feel when you're unable to belong with your friends, when you're unable to belong with your peers, when you feel like you're not able to belong with them, when that sense of community is reduced, is when you start engaging in behavior similar to your peers so that you can feel connected with them again. Okay? So that is peer pressure. A peer group is a group of individuals who are of similar age, status, or interests as you. And we've talked about social influence, how people impact our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions, and how we impact their thoughts, their feelings, and their actions. And then there is conformity. Conformity here refers to changing the behavior to match the group norms. And when we say norms, we're talking about expected standards of behavior within a group. Okay, now let's talk about these in with reference to an example. All right, so we know about peer group. Okay, anybody you hang out with in class or you are very close to in class would be a peer. Okay, that's simple, right? Okay. Social influence here would be the process through which people's thoughts, feelings, and actions are affected by others. Okay, let's say that you have a group of friends, a group of peers rather, and in that group you're very close to one of them. Okay. Now, this one person is a very rebellious person. They are rude to teachers. They are, very, not non-disciplined, not very approachable, etc. Now you really like this person, you're very close friends with them, and you want their approval. So you also engage in behavior which is in sync with their behavior. So you also behave rudely with teachers. You also become unapproachable, right? That is social influence. Now conformity means changing the behavior to match group norms. Okay, like let's say for example, um, you are a part of a peer group which always bunks one particular lecture. Okay. Initially, you did not have a problem with that lecture or the teacher at all. But once you've started becoming a part of this peer group, now you want to belong to the peer group, right? So if they are bunking lectures, you will also bunk lectures. We'll take it one step ahead. If they are consuming alcohol, despite you not wanting to consume alcohol, you will also end up consuming alcohol, right? So conformity here is not just following what other people are following. Here, it's very important to remember it is there because we want to feel connected with our people. We want to feel like we belong to a particular group, right? So that is conformity. Now, what are norms? Norms are the expected standards of behavior within a group. Um, Madhav, I'm sorry, but we're already at 7:18 p.m. and I have a lot to cover today. So you can go ahead and watch the recording maybe later. Norms are expected standards of behavior. Yes, I'll explain the difference between conformity and social influence one more time, but let me just complete norms, right? So, norms are expected standards of behavior within a group. Like, for example, if you want to be a part of a peer group, you need to continuously bunk one particular lecture, only then will the group people accept you, right? So, this behavior that you need to engage in, this rule, is basically the condition, right? That is called the norm. Now, what is one second. Let's see. What was the difference between social influence and conformity? Okay. Social influence is a broader term. Conformity is where it comes under social influence. Okay. So social influence is process through which people's thoughts, feelings, actions are affected by others. Right? Conformity is when we change our behaviors to match group norms. Okay. But there is also obedience. Obedience is when we are following um, obedience is when we are following a higher authority's uh, orders because we want to be on good terms with them, right? We want to be safe and we don't want to be in trouble. Correct. So that is obedience. Obedience is another form of social influence. Okay, so social influence is an umbrella term and conformity is a type of social influence. Just like Baskin Robbins is a brand and I don't know, chocolate fudge is a type of ice cream. ठीक है? Okay. Now, types of peer pressure there is direct, indirect, positive, negative. Direct peer pressure is direct influence. If you want to be my friend, you need to cut your hair short and be like me. I am directly telling someone what they need to do in order to be my peer, to be my friend. Okay? Indirect peer pressure would mean friends are not directly telling you कि you need to do XYZ to be my friend. But let's say you're going with a group of friends and you notice that they are taking very risk taking behavior. Like let's say that they are um, riding a bike and they're riding it very fast and you're scared. ठीक है? At no point do they tell you कि you should also ride the bike very fast. But when they are riding the bike, next time you notice that they're not inviting you with them. They're not telling you to join them anymore. So because you think why are they not letting me join them anymore while riding the bike? You realize that okay, maybe it's because I did not ride it as fast as they would like me to. So that's why I need to start riding the bike faster so that I feel that I belong with them again. Right? So that's indirect peer pressure. Positive peer pressure, negative peer pressure. Negative peer pressure is quite like, simply stated. Right? If a peer group is influencing you to engage in a behavior which is negative, that is negative peer pressure. If they are engaging you to bunk lectures, that's negative peer pressure. If they are engaging you or influencing you to not do homework, that's negative peer pressure. Positive peer pressure would be things like encouraging you to sleep on time, encouraging you to be more active in sports, to be more outgoing, to have build more friendships with other people as well, right? So that is positive peer pressure. So peer pressure is not always negative, but it is always the influence of a particular group on someone else. Okay? Yes, Prithvi, correct. All right. Now, how does peer pressure impact our decision making? When we are making decisions, we are saying that there is a process wherein we select a course of actions. Samaya, not always. Peer pressure, positive peer pressure, just encouragement. It isn't always encouragement. Here, it could also mean things like encouragement also means congratulating someone for the good things that they've done, right? It's not just, acha, you should do healthier habits. Okay, so there is a difference here. Encouragement would also mean things like, wow, dude, I'm so glad that you actually got full marks in this exam. Positive peer pressure would be, dude, we're going to go study for this exam. Would you like to come join us so that we can study together? Okay, it's not the same thing. Okay. Decision making is the process of selecting a course of action from multiple alternatives. Throughout our lives, we have a lot of situations where we are expected to choose a particular alternative. Should I go to school? Should I stay home? Should I sleep on time? Should I scroll reels? Should I go to this party? Should I rest at home? Etc. etc. Right? So, cognitive process of selecting a course of action from multiple alternatives is called decision making. Now, there are certain factors which affect decision making. Okay? The first one is emotional. Can anyone tell me what do you think are some emotional factors which affect decision making? What are some emotional factors affecting decision making? Fear. Yes, very good. Fear of missing out, biasness, anger, rage. Correct. So anything to do with emotions, right? These are ways this which influences our decisions are emotional factors affecting our decisions. What about social factors? We've already talked about peer pressure. What other social factors can you think of? Yes, Gia, comparison, sensitivity. What other social factors can you think of? Social norms, very good, Yashika, insecurity. Yes, prominent line, yes. Complexes, family influence, definitely. So, any sort of pressure or any sort of influence which comes because different people are interacting with each other, and you are one of those people, is basically social factors affecting decision making, right? What about cognitive factors? What are some cognitive factors which affect our decision making? Stress, overthinking, even when it comes to biases, right? If I think ki um if I think that, you know what, I know I'll be able to finish the work at the last minute, so let me go ahead and spend some more time with my friends. Okay, you are over anticipating and, overestimating rather your ability to complete the work at the last minute. Because when we think about doing things at the last minute, there are certain things we realize are not in our control. Correct. So we forget about those things. You know? So cognitive here refers to any mental processes which impact our decisions, which make us think that, oh, hey, you know what? If I can do XYZ, so let me do ABCD right now, and then I'll do this later on. But actually, that later on doesn't come. Correct? So, our estimation of how our ability, our memory, our prejudice, perception, if we have multiple options, it gets difficult to select one option. You all must have gone to a restaurant and seen so many beautiful options to eat, so many delicious options, and you must have gotten so fed up कि आपने सबसे easiest option choose कर लिया. पास्ता खा लेते हैं चलो. Correct. So you have so many other options, but it's so overwhelming because there are so many things. That's why you're overthinking and you're analyzing things so much, and you just simplify the whole thing by going with the easiest, most lame option over there. Right? So these are the factors affecting decisions. Now, when we talk about adolescence and risk-taking behavior, what we are saying is that when individuals are growing up and when they are in the period of adolescence, their focus is more on getting a reward. That reward mostly is peer validation. Okay? When I am an adolescent, I am more focused on engaging in behavior which will make my peers like me more and they'll want to be my friends more, right? So, because there is higher reward sensitivity, we are focusing more on factors or behaviors which will give us a reward. Additionally, our emotional brain develops faster than the rational brain. Okay? What I mean here is that I will make more decisions during adolescence which are based more on my emotions rather than a rational thinking process. Okay? Um, a lot of people, for example, during adolescence, they want to travel abroad. Okay? They want to travel abroad, and all of their friends are traveling abroad. They may not realize the logistics behind it. They may not realize what is required to travel abroad, the money, the time, the capability, etc., etc. Right? Because their emotional mind is more in play, it becomes difficult to think from a rational point of view. Hence, decision making gets impacted. Okay? So this is why we often during adolescence engage in risky behavior because we are trying to, what do I mean by rational? Aradhya, so here I don't mean rational from the, irrationality point of view. That's not what I'm trying to say. When I say rational here, I mean that we as individuals during adolescence are unable to think about the consequences of our actions. We are more um, taken away by the current feeling we are experiencing. Right now, I feel like skipping my lecture. जो बाद में होना है हम बाद में देखेंगे. We're not focusing on the outcome or the consequences. Hence, we get carried away and we go with the emotional behavior rather than the rational behavior. Rational behavior here means something which is thought through. ठीक है? How do you shift the focus from the reward behavior, Madhav? Firstly, it has a lot more to do with conditioning as well, because a lot of us have been conditioned to focus on the reward and to gain maximum rewards and pleasure from a particular action, right? So, firstly, the best way to reduce um, reward driven sensitivity is to enhance intrinsic motivation, right? To try and understand how can I engage with this behavior in a way which is good for me intrinsically, which doesn't always need to have an outcome, but I'm learning, I'm gaining something of value, right? So that is one thing. The other thing is to understand that right in life, not every behavior you engage will have a reward or punishment. Sometimes there'll be a behavior which will just be a neutral consequential behavior, right? So trying to understand the outcomes of our behaviors, the um, consequences of our behaviors, and more importantly, whatever reward I am supposed to be getting from this behavior, is it actually worth it? If it's not worth it, do I only need to engage in this behavior, right? So that is decision making. Okay, now let's take this challenge. Okay, your friends are pressurizing you to skip a class. What would you do? What influences your decision, and what are the short term and long term consequences? Okay, first one we'll taking over here. Your friends are pressuring you to skip a class. What would you do? Now don't say it just because अच्छा मैम है सर है तो अच्छे से ही बोलना पड़ेगा. Be honest. Tell me, what would you do? Would you skip the class? Would you not skip the class? I'll make notes to give them. Acha, very nice, Aradhya. Interesting. Disagree, not skip. I would skip, not skip, not skip. Or maybe skip. Okay. What influences your decision? What influences our decision? The fact that you want to study, morals, the longing to fit in. I know what I am and I am not supposed to do, need to be accepted, friendship, you don't want them thinking that you're scared. Okay. What are the short term and long term consequences of your decision? If you are skipping the class, what are the short term consequences and long term consequences? If you're not skipping the class, what are the short term consequences and long term consequences? Getting scolded, skipping class more often. I can be suspended if caught, yes. Memory. Teacher will call my parents, yes. Short term पढ़ाई miss हो जाएगी, very good. Long term is settling into a bad behavior, yes. If you skip one class, the possibility of you skipping the next class can also be more, na? Once we start with a habit, it's difficult to break it, right? So the first time you skip the class and you feel wow, memories बन गई, अच्छा मजा आया दोस्तों के साथ, चलो एक और skip कर लेते हैं, क्या ही हो जाएगा, एक ही तो क्लास है। करते करते 100 क्लासेस मिस हो जाती है, अटेंडेंस कम हो जाती है, पेरेंट्स गुस्सा हो जाते हैं और मार्क्स कम हो जाते हैं, राइट? ओके, what about the next situation? Friends are spreading rumors about you. Rumors online. Friends are spreading rumors online. What would you do? Not about you, just they're spreading rumors about someone. What would you do? You would ignore. Okay, Sia. Ask them not to do. Confront them. Okay? You'll confront them. Okay? Confront your friends. Okay? Tell them it's wrong. Panic and try to solve it. Falsify them. Very interesting. Talk to them to remove them. Okay. What influences your decision? Why are you confronting them? Why are you asking them not to, spread rumors? Morality, putting myself in that person's shoes. Empathy, yes. Morals and feelings. Empathy, correct. Empathy, okay. But what if you don't know the person? If you don't know जिसके बारे में rumors spread हो रहे हैं, तो क्यों empathy दिखाना? Morals are the same. Very good, Iram. It would destroy another person as a human being. Fantastic. Okay. And what if you think that the person they're spreading rumors about is a bad person, so they deserve it? What would you do then? You'll still protect them. Very good. Very nice. Nice group of people here. Still you won't. Nobody deserves it. Tell them. Very good. Fantastic. Again, short term, long term consequences. शॉर्ट टर्म लॉन्ग टर्म कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस क्या होंगे? ना बोलने के एंड बोलने के लॉन्ग टर्म images destroyed of the other person, not for the other person. I'm asking what would be short term long term consequences for you? Our friends become better people, everybody will enjoy, वो regret होगा, guilt if we hadn't stopped, yes. Not friends with them anymore, friend might not talk to me, yes, friends may stop talking, they befriend me, right? Excellent, great. Okay, last situation. Everyone is buying something expensive. What would you do? See your own pocket, okay, Iram. Buy it if it's nice. If it's not worth it, then no. Ask my parents. Buy if necessary. Okay, Aradhya. Okay, what influences your decision? Of course, here, to obviously money firstly, right? If you have the money, then you'll buy it. What else? FOMO, money, importance, value of the object. What's the point of buying something useless? Correct. Correct. Family's thoughts, definitely. Right? How do you require the project? Do you require the object? Do you not require the object? Money, necessity. Why waste money? Necessity. Excellent. Short term, long term consequences? Hmm. Short term may be trolled, may feel left out. Correct. Feel left out, feeling proud of not wasting money would be the long term consequence. Very nice. Long term good that we did not waste money, it can make us feel lonely. Right. So the purpose of this exercise was to help us understand that every action we engage with will have an outcome. On the basis of that outcome, there'll be consequences, short term and long term. So when we're talking about this rational mind, we're saying think about the consequences of your actions before engaging in them. Because only when you think about the consequences can you understand if the action is actually worth taking, if the decision is actually worth being made. What will be the outcome of the decision I'm taking? Should be a question which you think of quite frequently because that is what will impact the way our lives are, right? Okay. 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 Now we move on to social media, comparison culture, and mental health. Lots of people will love to talk about this topic. So let's start. Why do you use social media? And when I say social media, I mean all platforms. I'm talking Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Snapchat, anything, everything. Why do you use social media? FOMO, time pass, to interact, cause of peers, fear of being left out, entertainment, communication, entertainment, work, FOMO, entertaining ourselves, posting your photos, feeling connected, time pass, FOMO, connectivity, to be updated, yes, happiness, you create content, nice, freshening up your mind. Okay, let me ask you a question. अगर आप सोशल मीडिया ये सारी चीज़ों के लिए यूज़ करते हो to become popular, to gain information, to, you know, get information on the world, is social media good or bad? Both. Both. Depends. Both. Bit of both. How we use it. Very good. Right? So here also decision making comes in, no? If you're using social media or internet for that matter in a healthy manner, in a way which is balanced, in a way in which you are not hyper focused or addicted, then it doesn't have to be, it is not a bad habit then, right? It's just something you're engaging in on a daily basis, which is fine. Correct. But if you're so engrossed in social media and internet, ki, uh, right. If you're so engrossed in social media and internet, ki you can't make a decision based on the consequences of that behavior, then it becomes problematic. Right. So anything in moderation is fine, guys. If you're using social media in a balanced manner, that is okay. No one is telling you not to use internet. We're just telling you to use it carefully. Okay? Okay. Let's talk about some important terms here. There's self-esteem, self-concept, identity, validation, social comparison. What is self-esteem? What is self-concept? Firstly, what is self-esteem? Give me 1 second. Okay. Right. What is self-esteem? Yeah. Self-esteem, one's ability, respect we have, confidence we have, being happy with ourselves, self-respect, self-respect. Okay, then what is self-concept then? If self-esteem is the confidence we have in ourselves, what is self-concept? Yes, Anaya, very good. So what is self-concept? What we think of ourselves. Okay, knowing yourself, knowing who you are. So Anaya, self-esteem is basically how you see yourself. So then what is self-concept? Self-concept is confidence, knowing who we are, having a clarity of what we want. Self-concept is your understanding of yourself. Please don't chat GPT these things, okay, guys? If you're giving a wrong answer, that's fine, because there isn't any wrong answer. We're talking here, we're conversing. Yes, we're respecting each other's beliefs and responses. Okay? ठीक है. Excellent. Great. So you understand what self-esteem and self-concept is. What about identity? What is identity? Just a second. Okay. We're saying over here identity is who I am as a person. Identity is what we have that makes us us. our personality, something which recognizes us, how we are known. Okay, then how is this different from um, self concept? How is identity different from self concept? How is identity different from self concept? Identity is something social, concept is personal. That's interesting. Very nice view of looking at it, Iram. Anyone else? Identity is who we are for other people. So self concept is who we are for ourselves. Is that what I know about myself? Universal. Identity is from outside. Identity is personality. Right, very good, right? Here you can notice that there are lots of people who are sharing and talking about the fact that identity is indeed how others perceive us. But more importantly, how we identify ourselves in a group of people. Hmm? And self concept is how we perceive ourselves. Who am I to myself versus who am I to others? Does that make sense? ठीक है. Excellent. Okay. Now, what about what else was there? Validation. Now, this is something which a lot of us require a need for, right? What is validation? What is validation? So, would it be fair to say that validation is approval? S- Right. So, what happens if we are not validated? What happens if we are not validated? We turn sad. Hmm. Lonely, low self-esteem. Hmm. 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 Okay. And what happens when we are validated? Confidence. Hmm. Hmm. We feel motivated. We feel confident. We depend on others. Yes. We're good enough to present or represent ourselves. Excitement. It can affect our emotional well being. Do you think there is anything known as over validation or this need for excessive validation? Right. So, essentially, as human beings, we would like to be at a point in our life where we don't require others' validation, but if we get it, it's nice. If we don't get it, it's okay. Life goes on, right? That is essentially what we would like to have a relationship with reference to validation. Okay? All right. Now, what is social comparison? Basic, simple, right? We try and compare ourselves to other people to try and understand what kind of a life are we living as compared to others. But what is upward social comparison and downward social comparison? When I say upward social comparison and downward social comparison, what comes to mind? Negative and positive comparison, that's interesting. Upwards is in a good sense, like achieving. Motivates us is upward. Okay, interesting. Mm-hmm. Okay, okay. So what is downward motivation? Downward comparison. Okay. So upward social comparison is when we compare ourselves to people we think are better than us. Okay. So if I think that Akshay Kumar is better than me, I will compare myself to Akshay Kumar saying that, wow, Akshay Kumar has so much money and so much of fame, but I don't have that money and fame. I feel really bad. Okay. So that is upward social comparison. And then there is downward social comparison, where we are saying that I am better off than this person. Okay? Like, for example, when we look at our friends or we look at someone we know and they're going through a difficult time in their lives, right? And we tell them, Ocha, you know what? At least I'm better off than this person. Right? Yes, Yashika. Excellent. Downward means comparing yourself to someone you think is worse off. Okay? So let's do a quick little game here. Um, if I am comparing myself to a senior of mine who is very well established now and they have their own job and their own company, is this upward or is this downward? Upward. Excellent. If I am comparing myself to my mom who has her own her own place in her organization, who is very well to do, what is that? Upward. Okay. If I am comparing myself to a friend of mine who comes from a lower socioeconomic strata, downward. Okay. If I'm comparing myself to the minorities in our community, downward. Right? So you understand the difference between upward and downward comparison. Upward is, acha, XYZ is so much better than me. Downward is, acha, I am better than XYZ at this place. So I'm still doing better off than this thing. ठीक है? Okay. Okay. I wanted you all to watch this video, but knowing that वो screen share का concern होता है, let me just copy the link to the clipboard and share it with you on the chat box. Can you all see the link I've sent on the chat box? Okay. Shubham, can you please send the link on the chat box?
Yes, yes.
आप लोग वीडियो देखो, वापस आ जाओ. ठीक है? मैं भी देखूंगी साइड बाय साइड. Okay, are you guys done watching the video? ठीक है, देख के आ जाओ. Then let me know when you're done watching the video and then we'll just have a quick discussion on it. ठीक है. One more minute, okay? ठीक है. Okay. Whoever is done watching the video, can you tell me what your views were about it? What did the video make you feel? What were you thinking? It's a good video तो मुझे भी पता है. What were you thinking while watching the video? What did the video make you feel? What were your thoughts about it? Yes. Interesting. Title says a lot. Definitely influenced peer pressure, hurt herself. Right. So, comparison culture is an environment where we constantly compare achievements, appearances, lifestyles, and popularity. But the thing is, and this is something I tell everyone, all my clients, all the people I know, I always tell them social media is just one part of someone's life. What they post on social media is not everything. People will not post their negative moments, guys. People won't post things that make them feel bad or things that did not go their way. They will post about their birthday party. They will post about this brand new car they bought. They won't post about the 15 hours a day of work that they require to do to put that work in to get that car. Okay? They won't post about the days when it was so difficult for them to even leave the bed. Please always remember, people always post the best parts of their life. People always share the most interactive and most enjoyable moments of their life because social media itself is a performance. Always, always remember this. Social media, posting, the entire culture associated with comparison, that is all a performance. We would always prefer sharing things which are good for us, which made us feel happy, than sharing things which make us feel sad or make us feel upset or undermine ourselves. Please always remember when you see some reel or something which is very positive and makes you feel a little bit lesser about yourself, please remember this is just one part of someone's life. You don't know what is behind the screen because they are not telling you what's behind the screen. तो आप ये मत assume करो कि उनकी life actually इतनी better है मेरे से, because you don't know अगर better है या नहीं. आपको बस पता है कि उनकी एक life है, भाई वो better है नहीं better है. You know only how much they are showing you. So please remember, social media and comparison is not the most justifiable space to compare yourself with. It's not a it's not a realistic lens of comparison or a realistic lens of view even. ठीक है? Okay. FOMO की बात की है हमने, fear of missing out, that others are having more rewarding experiences without you. Can someone maybe share a couple of examples of FOMO that they may have experienced in their life? Just if you're comfortable, you don't have to, but if you're comfortable, you can put it in the chat box, right? What are some experiences of FOMO you've had in your life? FOMO, it's written on the screen. Sahaj, I think. Fear of missing out, right? We feel upset that other people are having more happier experiences than us, more enjoyable, more rewarding experiences than us without us. Right? When your entire group goes to the mall without inviting you, yes, thank you so much. Parties while my parents stopped me. Yes, thank you so much. Friends went to the mall, leaving me behind. Thank you so much for sharing all these things, right? Yes. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing all these things, guys. I really appreciate your candid nature here, right? If since we have all shared, even I'll share, right? Right now, I'm at that age where people are really working in setups which are very engaging. They are going on with different parts of their life, in different aspects of their life as well, right? So when I look at them and I realize they're doing better off in a particular part of their life than I would like to be, like with reference to their physical health, or with reference to their social life, or with reference to the fact that their work is much more flexible. So they get a lot of time to hang out and chill and vacation, etc. But I don't get that time. Those are ways when I feel really bad. I feel like, okay, you know what? I wish my life was a little bit more carefree, तो मैं भी कर सकती थी. But ठीक है, I like the kind of life I'm living right now because it gives me structure, it gives me principle and discipline. And these are things I really value a lot, right? ठीक है. So, um, that was fear of missing out, that was comparison culture. Now, let's talk about something which a lot of people our age experience on a daily basis, and it is considered a crime: cyberbullying. Okay. What is cyberbullying? It's when we use digital technology to harass someone else, to threaten someone, or to embarrass someone. It is defined in the light of five main criteria: intention to harm, repetition, power imbalance, anonymity, and publicity. Oh, thank you, Anaya. That's very sweet. Um, okay, intention to harm. When I'm talking about cyberbullying or any kind of bullying, honestly, there is always an intention to harm. There's always one person who wants to harm the other person. उसके बिना bullying नहीं होता है. Okay? When I have an ill intention towards someone and I want to hurt this other person, that is called a bullying. Okay? There is repetition. Cyberbullying doesn't stop the one time. It continues. It happens multiple times. ठीक है? It can be the intention of enjoyment too. Yes, definitely. Right? There is power imbalance. The person, physical harm is physical and mental both. Yes, Gia. When we talk about power imbalance, the person who is bullying has more power than the person who's being bullied. Okay. Aradhya, if you don't have a bad intention but the other person got hurt, that is called a mistake. And we can always ask for forgiveness for mistakes. Okay? Okay. Anonymity. Social media or any sort of social platform has given everybody this aspect of, acha, you can do whatever you want and people will not know who you are. This has encouraged people to be more hurtful to others, to be more, um, you know, harmful and be more bullying sort of behavior, engaging in more of harmful behavior towards others, because you don't know So other person won't know who you are, so you engage in behavior which could hurt them even more. And publicity, right? Bullying is often seen as a form of popularity. You must have heard, na, class mein, or when you must have experienced an experience, when you must have been a victim of bullying, maybe you might have noticed that the person who is bullying you is often perceived as being cool. ठीक है? They're often perceived as being, अरे wow यार, this person is so cool. People get so scared of him. People are not understanding that it is behavior which is hurting someone else. Madhav, we can't make that generalization. Let's try and avoid generalizations here. Okay? So yes, there's publicity, right? People want to be known. So they want to be known and they do so by being engaging in behavior which is bad for other people. Okay? Now there are various forms of cyberbullying. Trolling. Can someone give me some examples of trolling? What are some examples of trolling? उर्फी जावेद तो नाम है उसका ना. What is trolling? Making others feel bad about themselves. When you mock someone. Yeah, when you make them feel really bad about their traits or their personality or the things that they are doing, right? Okay. What about name calling? Teasing. What else is name calling? Vijay Trisha. Okay, calling someone by derogatory names, derogatory terms, yes. Someone with their parents' names, yeah. Abusing, all those things are name calling, right? What is flaming? Does anyone know what's flaming? Flaming here refers to any sort of attack at someone to, share vulgar messages about them or talk in a way which is harmful about them on a public forum. Okay, so sometimes you might have noticed na, ki if there is an Instagram post and then there is someone who says a comment which is not agreeing with the other people. So all the other people gang up and attack that one person, right? That is flaming. Like sort of like blackmailing, sure. Outing. What's outing? Outing here is not just with reference to sexuality and the context of, outing someone without their permission. Outing here also refers to making some Madhav, not really. Mhm. Outing here in general refers to releasing information which is very private, very personal, be it pictures, be it addresses, be it phone numbers, right? Like um, this very harrowing experience, which I think a lot of people may have, a lot of female identifying women may have experienced, is that आप अगर washroom में जाओगे and there may be someone's number written on the wall of the door or something like that, and then there is a name, and it's written over there of if you want to have a good time, call this person. That is someone's personal phone number, right? You can't just do that. It could lead to harm for that person, right? बट आप प्राइवेट इंफॉर्मेशन शेयर कर रहे हो इतने लार्ज स्केल पे ऑन अ पब्लिक फोरम विदाउट आस्किंग द पर्सन's consent, right? That is outing. Okay. Yes, Madhav, many male people have also had the similar experience. It's very harmful, very scary, and honestly it's very dangerous because you don't know who could reach you to that information, right? Okay. Now, what is the impact of cyberbullying? Depression. Direct jump to depression. और कुछ होता है डिप्रेशन के पहले? Anxiety. Inferiority. One can get into anxiety. Fear. Self doubt, panic attacks, insecurity. How does a person feel about themselves when they are being bullied, cyberbullied? How does a person feel about themselves when they are being cyberbullied? worthless, terrible. They doubt their own selves, right? They doubt their feelings, they doubt their emotions, they doubt their identity, who they are. They have a difficult time being in line with themselves, right? So it's never a positive experience to be cyberbullied or bullied in any way. Okay? Okay. Now, I have a couple of questions for you. How much time do you spend online daily? 4 hours, 2 hours, okay. How do you feel after scrolling? After you're done scrolling, what is it like? कितना अच्छा लगता है, कितना बुरा लगता है, क्या लगता है? Okay? Tired, dumb, mixed feelings. ठीक है? And which accounts make you feel good? Which accounts make you feel like, oh, hey, this is nice. Fun आ रहा है देख के इसको. हंसी आ रही है. I really like watching these comedy reels and stuff. Love watching them. I laugh a lot. Okay. So stuff like that. I love stand-ups. I love reading books. So anything to do with that content, I really enjoy reading, enjoy watching, right? Okay. Which accounts make you feel worse? Which accounts make you feel worse? Something related to bullying, harassment, meme pages, okay? When I see people studying, okay, Twisha. Critical accounts. What about political accounts? Accounts which post about the world right now. Yes, Geet. Thank you. They tell about what's going on, what's happening, the difficult world right now. There are so many things going on which are very out of our control on a larger context, in a larger political scenario, right? So there also it's difficult to balance out, na? We are exposed to so much of content. So definitely this content will have an influence on our perception of things, on our perception of life, right? Okay. Now, how can we curate healthier digital environments? How can we, as individuals, curate healthier digital environments? Setting limits. Limits like avoid screen time usage. What else? ठीक है, time limits. Okay. Focusing on the good jolly content only. Okay. Setting up screen time, respecting privacy, reporting negative comments. Very good, Samira. Reporting cyberbullying, definitely, right? So these are all behaviors which we can engage in to build healthier digital environments, right? Now, before we actually talk about healthier habits and how we can work on habits which are good for us with reference to technology, let me just quickly share this link, and I would love for you all to watch this. This is one video I always, always share whenever I'm doing any sessions on एक सेकेंड रुक जाओ मैं शेयर कर लेती हूँ पहले. Hmm. When I'm sharing any session on uh, addiction, I always share this link. Shubham, can you please share it with the group as well?
Oh, yes, I'm done.
Madhav, I'm not. I. Okay. Shubham, thank you so much, Shubham. Guys, please watch this video and come back. थोड़ा लंबा video है, but please look at the video carefully and come back so then we can discuss what you learned. Yeah. Lavansh, there's a link on the group. Please, on the chat of the Zoom chat. Please watch that video and come back. If you have already watched the video na, तो please chat box पे डाल दो कि what was your experience like and what did you understand from the video. The chicken got addicted, the consequences of addiction. Yes, Keith, very good. Okay, what is the impact of addiction? What happens if you get addicted to a substance? क्या हो जाएगा? We keep on increasing the intensity of it. First, we use a small dose of a particular substance, and then we realize that, okay, this small dose is not impacting me as much. I want more. That is exactly what happens with social media and media addiction as well, right? Dopamine loops. Very good, Madhav. We engage in behavior which makes us feel good. So, the more we engage in that behavior, the more dopamine our body releases, and the more we want to continue engaging in that positive behavior. But that is not positive behavior always. Going for a walk for 45 minutes would be healthy dopamine. Scrolling infinitely on Instagram, that is not healthy dopamine. That is addictive dopamine. Because you're engaging in a behavior which is giving your brain some sort of distraction, some sort of validation, some sort of enjoyment, you think कि अच्छा मजा आ रहा है. Actually मजा नहीं हो रहा है. You're just feeling bored. But because there is immediate pleasure, it's difficult to detach from that behavior. Okay, that's exactly how dopamine loops work. The more we engage in some behavior which releases dopamine for us, the more dopamine it will release and more the chances of us getting addicted. Okay? For example, how many people here reach for their phone the second they hear a notification go off? How many people reach for their phone the second they hear a notification go off? Even me, okay? Even I do. Most of the time, honestly. Now, what is this about? When the notification goes off, हमें लगता है अरे यार बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट सी चीज आई होगी. क्या इंपॉर्टेंट हो सकता है इतना जो व्हाट्सएप नोटिफिकेशन. व्हाट इज सो इम्पोर्टेंट जो व्हाट्सएप के नोटिफिकेशन पे आए हो या इंस्टाग्राम के नोटिफिकेशन पे आए हो. जोमेटो होता है मोस्टली. ओके. The bottom line is that in our life we will definitely have a lot of things and a lot of notifications. The part of us which says कि अभी अभी चेक करो नोटिफिकेशन. नहीं चेक किया तो क्या हो जाएगा. क्या हो जाएगा. 5 मिनट और बीत जाएंगे. 5 मिनट बाद चेक कर लेना. If someone wanted to tell you something extremely important, the likelihood of them calling you would be more than them sending you a WhatsApp message. ठीक है. Even your Zomato bhaiya for that matter. If he gets lost, he's not unable to find your house, he will call you. वो चाहे 100 बार कॉल करे, कॉल तो करेंगे ना. Right? Learn to prioritize yourself before prioritizing notifications. Now, what are some ways to have healthier technology habits? First of all, mindful use. अगर आप फोन यूज कर रहे हो, ट्राई एंड यूज ओनली द फोन फॉर दैट ड्यूरेशन. आप मल्टीटास्किंग मत करो. आप सामने ही चार चार स्क्रीन खोले हैं, स्प्लिट स्क्रीन है. यहाँ पे नेटफ्लिक्स चल रहा है, यहाँ पे amazon प्राइम पे कुछ चल रहा है, यहाँ पे आप कुछ खरीद रहे हो, यहाँ पे कुछ गेम खेल रहे हो. डोंट डू दैट. When you're engaging in a particular behavior, even if it's a digital behavior, engage with only that one behavior at that particular time. Only then will you be able to engage in that one behavior, and you will feel like अच्छा मेरा काम हो गया है. No, then you will be diverting 25% of your attention to four different tasks, and you won't get any of them done. So you will feel कि और time devote करते हैं. Right? Iram again, right? See, that is also not very mindful, na बच्चे. When we say mindful use, we're saying be present in that moment. Engage with that behavior wholly. If I'm teaching you, let me engage in this moment with you. Let me interact with you. Right? So, if you want to really enjoy the experience of nature, and अगर आप nature walk पे जाके phone पे game खेल रहे हो और walk चल रहे हो अच्छे से, will you be able to enjoy nature? No, right? Of course, someone also mentioned screen-free time. Devote a particular time on which you are allowed to play on the phone or use the phone or whatever, and then ensure that there is also time where you don't use the phone. even if it's just 20 minutes a day. Ensure कि there is a space in the house जहाँ पे आप फोन लेके जा ही नहीं सकते, like kitchen, washroom. Even if it's just 20 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, even if it's just 10 minutes a day, devote 10 this much amount of time to no phone, no digital media, no AI, nothing use. Learn to detach from these things so that you can attach and form connections with people, because technology will always be there. Bonds, social connections. This is where life is, right? This is where, see, Parisha, I understand what you're saying, but that is where we have to make a conscious effort, ना? मैं आपको ये टिप्स एंड टेक्निक्स दे रही हूँ, बट इम्प्लीमेंट तो आपको ही करना पड़ेगा, राइट? आप ट्राई तो करो एक दो हैबिट्स. तो विशाल चल रहा, दिस इज नाइस. कैन यू मल्टीटास्क इफ यू आर वाचिंग अ मूवी while painting? If you're watching the movie while painting, can you understand what's happening in the movie? Actually understand what's happening in the movie? If you're watching a movie while painting, can you actually understand what's happening in the movie? Can you actually enjoy the art of painting? Can you actually enjoy the process of painting? We are trained to do multiple things, but actually our brain tries to engage us with one particular task at one particular time, because only then are we in focus and are we in the moment. मल्टीटास्किंग में बहुत काम हो जाएगा गाइस, बहुत अच्छे से हो जाएगा फिर भी, चलो कोई बात नहीं. बट हो रहा है, आप कर नहीं रहे हो. You are not engaging in that task. Then what's the use of doing the task if you're not going to engage in it at all? Right? Anyone who's asking about repeating the tips, I'll send them on the WhatsApp group. Okay? Take digital breaks, social connection, sleep hygiene. जितना ज्यादा बोले उतना कम. Sleep hygiene is very important. Your brain needs a shutdown time. 10:30 हो और to 11 o'clock हो, जो भी time हो, your brain needs to get some rest. If you're going to spend so much time on digital media, वो phone, laptop, iPad, whatever, your brain needs rest. Please learn to sleep on time. 45 minutes before sleeping, don't use your phone. Go for a walk before sleeping. Talk to your family before sleeping. जहाँ पे आप सो रहे हो उसके आसपास फोन मत रखो, थोड़ा दूरी पे रखो. These are also behaviors which are very important when we are connecting or when we are trying to rather detach and de-addict ourselves from the phone. ठीक है? प्लीज रिमेम्बर, अगर आपको आपके 7-8 घंटे की नींद नहीं मिलती है, तो आप चाहे जितना भी काम कर लो, वो कुछ फायदे का नहीं होगा, क्योंकि आप काम कर नहीं रहे होंगे, आप बस डिस्ट्रैक्ट कर रहे होंगे. One of the useful strategies I recommend to a lot of my clients is कि if you're not getting sleepy if you're not feeling sleepy at night, please go for a walk. Tire yourself, call a friend. Literally call a friend, speak to them, you know, chill with them, play a game with your family members. If you have a pet at home, engage with your pet. Lavanch, if you are unable to sleep till 2 a.m., I would recommend consulting a professional for that, so that you are able to understand if there is something else which is more helpful in this context. Right? Right. Very true, Iram. It's not possible to avoid phone completely, but at least we can reduce our dependency on it. Okay. Anyone over here who thinks that they are experiencing any sort of emotional distress, please note. Madhav, I'm sorry you can't contact me for therapy purposes because I am working over here as a freelance person, right? So I'm not allowed to have connections outside of the space. So you can contact someone else. We'll find a lot of therapists online. Okay? Visha, again, right? It's always good to sort of refer to professionals. Therapy or journaling and these things help you clear your mind and clear your space out, and then that helps you sleep better. Okay? Okay. Now we have 5 minutes left in this discussion, in this session. I would like to understand if anyone has any questions related to literature review. Only literature review. If you have any questions related to literature review, yes. Okay. Very simple. You take a research article, you study what the research article is studying. If the research article का जो summary है, उस पे आप summary बनाओ. I'll give you. Let's say that I have conducted a study on phone usage and friendships. Okay. I have conducted a study on phone usage and friendships. Now I want to understand कि study में क्या क्या होता है. So if you are writing a literature review, I want you to write the name of the person who conducted the research. What did they conduct the research on? What was the outcome or finding of the research? That's it. What was the research? Who conducted the research? What was the finding of the research? These 3 points you need to summarize for 5 researches. That's it. That's it. You don't have to make anything grand, Aradhya. Just a word document is enough. Yes, everything here is individual with reference to the project work. You open a Word document, you write an introduction to the topic you've selected. You write a small introduction to the topic you've selected. You write literature review. You write those 5 articles का summary. That's it. फिलहाल के लिए इतना ही करो. Different research, different review. नहीं 5 आर्टिकल का summary एक ही Word document में लिखना है बच्चे. ठीक है? If you want, you can write introduction. You write a small introduction of 1 paragraph. Research study 1. What was the summary? Research study 2. What was the summary? Research study 3. Summary 4. Summary 5. Summary. That's it. उतना ही करना है बस. नेक्स्ट क्लास में जब मिलेंगे उसका नेक्स्ट स्टेप बताऊंगी. Okay? You pick one topic and 5 articles from that topic. Please don't pick one topic for a different article. Da 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 da. Da. Don't do that. Pick one topic and find 5 researches on that topic. Summarize them. Write them in a Word document. That's it. Submission we'll talk about later. Till the next class, we have to complete it. Yes, I would like it if you can complete it so that you can move to the next part. ठीक है? Submit, proper submit last में ही करना है. जब पोर्टल पे लिंक आएगा etc. तभी ही करना है. अभी नहीं करना है. अभी you have to just continue working on it. So please get your literature review done. Select a topic, find 5 researches, summarize those researches, write it in a Word document. That's it. Okay? Okay. All right. How are you feeling, everyone? Great. Fantastic. Fine. So good. Very good. Okay. Excellent. Um, videos ke links I'll send it through Shubham. He'll send it on the group, right? And PPT ka I don't know if you're allowed to access it, but there's that. रिसर्च कर लिए कोई वेबसाइट्स कैन यू गिव. हाँ, रिसर्च के लिए also I'll share some websites. Okay? ठीक है. Thank you so much, everyone. Yes, Parisha, I think I forgot to do that last time. Give me a little weekend. I'll share some books as well. Shubham, thank you so much. That is all for the day. We'll meet on Tuesday.
Thank you so much, everyone. We are closing this window. Have a good night. Bye, Sarah.
Bye bye.